for this week's episode, and you'll see our title for this portion, MILF GOP. Okay, MILF GOP A-piece-ment. That's what they're doing to Mindanao, taking it apart piece by piece and giving it away to dubious Muslim political factions who are actually surrogates of the United States of America and the oil majors. We have more on this with our Mindanao Independence Movement founder, Bono Adaza, and he might just revive it because of what's happening. Former governor of Misamis Oriental and member of parliament and leader of, founder of the NatFil, Nationalists Filipinos, Ferdie Pasion, who texts us his insights, and which we found so important for the public to hear. We invited him again. So let's start with seniority again. Bono, you've seen what they have been signing, and the last annex has been signed. I don't know, have we seen the details of that annex?
It's being circulated around in the immediate circles of Malacanang. And I think it has gained a page or two in the internet. And when I took a look at this agreement, especially the attachments, I almost lost myself. I was thinking that these people must have read George Orwell's 1984 because the agreement is very hallucinatory in the sense that it does not take into consideration the realities in Mindanao. First, the MILF is a minority within a minority. As a matter of fact, many people maintain that Kato has a bigger chunk of the MILF. No?
Kato is the one heading the BIFF?
The BIFF, yes. Yeah. And why should the government create a sub-state to placate a minority within a minority? In Mindanao, the population is 85% Christians and Lumad. Meaning the MILF belongs to the 15%. But they are a minuscule number in the 15%. That's why Miswari and several other people are so enraged by this position of the national government and sacrificing even constitutional provisions. This government
What are the constitutional provisions being violated?
First, the constitutional provision on national territory, because this will in effect partition the country. They'll partition the country, and it's not authorized to do that. Second, in the provisions in the Constitution, in the creation of entities here, there is no such animal as a sub-state, a ministerial state, according to them. It's even in defiance of simple political science concept. There is no such thing as a ministerial government. You are either presidential, parliamentary, or monarchical. But I doubt very much whether the occupant in Malacanang has become the monarch of this country. I don't think so.
What other legal infirmities do you see here? What about the maintenance of the military of the MILF? They're not going to put down their arms. Is this a violation also of the Constitution?
Of course, it's a violation of the Constitution. The split sharing of powers. Under the Constitution, all the powers are with the government, the national government in Manila, and the other entities of government, the LGUs, are just extension of the government in Manila. And here they are creating a sub-state in violation of several provisions of the Constitution, and worse than that, a continuance of the policy of the Manila government since before, divide and rule in Mindanao, the divide and rule policy. That's what they're doing now. And the fact that, as I said, the majority are ignored in Mindanao. There is no participation in the debates. On the panel itself, as a matter of fact, I've been questioning the composition of the panel because the official moguls of the panel appointed by the president are not even Mindanaoans. They're not Mindanaoans. Maybe there are advisors hidden advisor somewhere with little voices, and they do not represent the people of Mindanao.
So, what the government is trying to do is to present a de jure existence of an arrangement with the MILF, agreement with the MILF, but will it survive in a de facto form? And will it really become a factor?
It will not survive, Minto. Ferdie. It will not survive because to begin with, they say that this is the final peace agreement. What are they talking about? Before even the Constitution was changed or the Congress of the Philippines acted on the recommendations, the BIFF created problems already. As a matter of fact, greater forces from within that group.
Yeah. What do you think Noor is thinking? You were a counsel to Noor Miswari before in his legal cases. What do you have you had communication with him on this matter?
No. I'm trying to listen to someone who is now touring Mindanao and trying to find out what MILF and the other groups have in mind. Specifically among the Muslim groups. He's coming back here on the 18th, and I will talk to him. But my speculation, however, is Noor, or the lieutenants of Noor, because Noor is a little bit aging. No? You know, when you're aging, you are...
He's also senior to you, no, si Noor?
Yeah, especially in looks. No?
Okay.
Very much senior, and probably in perspectives. No? He's senior. He's a revolutionary. But he does not agree with me that a revolutionary should never give up, should never surrender. That if a revolutionary is in prison, he should stay there for at least 28 years like in order to, like Nelson Mandela. But if I were Noor, I will re-examine his position because that's the problem of most of the rebel groups here. No? When I was Mentong, I'd like to do this, to present this problem because this is the common problem of all rebel groups in the country. I was telling Noor, when he was endorsing Gloria, without even consulting with me first. And he said, you know, Noor, you are a graduate of UP. You even taught in UP. But I don't think you know how to kill a snake. How do you kill a snake? You cut the tail or you cut the head. Doing this in Mindanao, you're cutting the tail. You will never succeed, not in several lifetimes. But if you re-examine your position, taking into consideration that the country is like a snake, and the head of a snake is Manila.
Okay. Well, let's now go to Ferdie here. And his views came to my attention because upon their discussion at one of the kapihans where one of the transition council members presented their case, the flaws of their logic and also the representation. No? These people that they put in the transition panel are not Mindanaoans also. So, highly questionable. But anyway, Ferdie, can you reiterate the points that you texted and mentioned to me, which I found very important for the public to understand? Go ahead.
Well, Senen Bacani, in one of the kapihans, kapihan sa Annabel's, said that the instruction of the president was to make sure that everything in the agreement will conform to the Philippine Constitution so that there will not be any need to amend the Constitution. However, I pointed out to him when he distributed this copy of the framework agreement, Section 7, Paragraph B, which states that the functions of the Transition Commission are as follows. And one of them is to work on proposals to amend the Philippine Constitution for the purpose of accommodating and entrenching in the Constitution the agreements of the parties whenever necessary without derogating from any prior peace agreements. He tried to belittle this point and said that the phrase whenever necessary is a safeguard. But we all know that whenever necessary, the definition of that phrase depends upon the Transition Commission. And there is now a call by Speaker Belmonte for a charter change through Constituent Assembly. And he's saying and he's claiming that it will only be to amend the economic provisions of the Constitution. However, what he does not want people to know is that once Congress is convened as a constituent assembly, it becomes a different kind of animal. It assumes plenary powers, and it can, no one and nothing can prevent it from changing any provision, any and all provisions of the Constitution, or entirely coming up with an entirely new Constitution.
Okay.
And
other points. That point is has been made, and it's very clear to me, and I'm sure, Bono, if you want to add anything. But let's listen to a rundown of the other points.
Yeah, another point is that in the framework agreement, Palawan is included. And I will read here, direct from the framework agreement. The parties recognize Bangsamoro identity. Those at the time of conquest and colonization were considered natives or original inhabitants of Mindanao and the Sulu archipelago and its adjacent islands, including Palawan. And their descendants, whether of mixed or full blood, shall have the right to identify themselves as Bangsamoro by ascription or self-ascription. So Palawan is included. And aside from that, the word Bangsa, as I always am fond of repeating, refers to country. And the Constitution speaks of only one country, one republic, one state, and that is the Republic of the Philippines. There should be no other Bangsa except the Bangsa of the Filipino people. And it's not even Bangsamoro because only the MILF are included there. It's Bangsa MILF. It's not even Bangsamoro. The Maranaos are not included. The Sulu Sultanate is not included. The Tausugs are not included.
Okay, response. But before the response from Bono, I'd like to say that whenever the name of Belmonte is mentioned, I almost puke. This is the fellow who distributed 500,000 to have the EPIRA passed to each congressman. This fellow is walang hiya. I'll say it na frankly, walang hiya, walang modo, bulok. Kulang na lang murahin ko dito. Hindi naman pwede. Because walang kwentang tao yan. No credibility at all. So I want to be very clear about that. Nothing coming from the mouth of this character is worth anything. Even worse than a used toilet paper. So mag-propose siya ng Constituent Assembly, that will become a toilet congress of these toilet people. 90% ng congressmen naman natin mga bayaran But having expressed that, I now go back to a more sober discussion from our former assemblyman and governor.
Mentong, when you talk about Belmonte, this is the guy who was given the whole country and those who are intending to file a petition for impeachment of the president, the evidence to impeach the president. Because this is one of the grounds. This guy stated in television and in the newspapers that it was the president who instigated the filing of the impeachment
against
Corona.
And that is a violation of the separation of powers.
Violation of the Constitution, and besides, intervention other than the violation on the provision on separation of powers is a violation of his oath. His oath as president. Now, Belmonte will be compelled to be witness, to attest to the truth of what he was saying in the newspapers and television.
When you file and we file the impeachment against
against the president.
B.S. Aquino.
And, talking about the Bangsa MILF.
Bangsa MILF. That's a good title for a column.
Okay. Bangsa MILF. I don't know what's happening to the heads of these people in Malacanang. I'm talking about the advisors, but what can they advise? The president, they know nothing about the problem.
Well, let's take the case of Senen Bacani. What is he? He is basically a businessman.
He's not is he a man? Bacani, is he a man?
I don't know.
Because in our place,
I don't know that much.
Senen is a name for a woman.
Yeah.
No?
But
okay, now you say he's a man.
Engaged in business in Mindanao? Am I correct?
He mentioned that he employs 95% of his employees are Moros. That is that fact going to qualify him to be a member of the Transition Commission? But the Nationalist Filipinos...
Is he a lawyer?
I don't know. But we in NatFil, the Nationalist Filipinos Against Foreign Intervention, are of the opinion that when you try to secede, this is practically secession, a territory of the Philippines from the Republic. It should not be only the Mindanaoans who should be voting on it. It should be the entire Filipino people. Because in the case of Quezon City, if you would remember, when Novaliches was trying to secede from Quezon City, the entire Quezon City voters were consulted if they wanted their territory to be diminished. But the Quezon City residents did not agree. So the entire Filipino people must be consulted if we want Mindanao and
Palawan
and Sulu to be separated from the Philippines, to be under the United States.
And this idea of separation, which they will say, which they will deny, is shown historically, as in the case of Kosovo.
Yes.
But they said, no, it's not a sub-state, it's blah, blah, blah. But eventually, Serbia lost Kosovo.
Yes.
Yeah, Bono, you're going to say.
You know, they should have studied the history of agreements with the Philippine government. These agreements can never be enforced. In the case of the AAA agreement, it did not take off. In the case of the agreement to establish the arm, it did not take off because during the plebiscite for the establishment and the arm, out of 13 provinces, they lost in 11 and they won only in 2. Out of 9 cities, they lost in all the 9 cities. So they should have learned from the examples of the previous agreement and the MOAD. It was declared unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. So what else are they going to do? This is some form of some questions on the level of the mind.
May I propose that this point, that the reason why our Constitution and laws are not followed is because there is an imposing power that just transgresses and tramples upon our Constitution, our laws, and our democratic desires and will. And that is the foreign powers. And in this case, the public should constantly be reminded, the so-called peace talks with MILF is sponsored by the United States Institute for Peace, which is headed by J. Robinson West, who is also head of the world's largest energy consulting firm, PFC Energy, which is a consulting firm of Royal Dutch Shell, ExxonMobil, Chevron, Texaco, and so on. So this is big oil behind this so-called peace, which is actually to carve Mindanao into little pieces for their, and especially Sulusi, for their voracious appetite for oil and natural gas. Bono?
That's why I've been telling them, there is only one solution to this kind of a problem. Establish a parliamentary and federal system. Because if they want Mindanao to be a continuing part of the Republic of the Philippines, that's the sanest and non-stupid solutions. Any other solution is insane and stupid. Now,
stupid because it, in the long run, doesn't happen anyway.
No, it does not work.
It does not
It doesn't work. The other one that will work in Mindanao, but to the advantage of Mindanao and to the disadvantage of the rest of the country, would be independence. Now, if they continue to partition Mindanao, people like me, who belongs to the majority because I am Christian and I am native at the same time, I have a big stake in the future of the island. If they continue to pursue this matter and trample the Constitution, they better prepare for...
But fight for independence will always require a physical struggle. American Revolution, and so on, French Revolution. Is Mindanao prepared for the next attempt?
The formula is there. Not the formula of Miswari, not the formula of Ruben Canoy, not the formula of the MILF, not the formula of the Abu Sayyaf, not the formula of the old Sultan in Cotabato. There is a formula. Well, I cannot speak about the formula because that's telegraphing our punches. But if they do not realize the stupidity of this particular effort, sane Mindanaoans
Well, they have
will
to win.
eventually move for independence that will implement the formula.
Well, this process, as what they have done in the balkanization of Yugoslavia, takes a long time and process over decades, which they hope will become de facto eventually. But as we can see in the Eurasian continent, Russia is coming back and reclaiming some of the Eastern European allies, and it just goes on until some consensus is reached that we just have to respect the integrity of a traditional national border. But
that's why, Mintong, I'm suggesting that there should be some sense of sanity in the formulation of national policy.
okay.
Now, there has been a lot of insane national policies transcending from one president into another.
Especially when you have somebody with suspected Asperger's syndrome, you cannot expect that sanity. But let's go to Ferdie before we run out of time. Ferdie.
Well, it should be noted here that there is the so-called International Contact Group composed of the United States, the United Kingdom, Australia, Japan, and even Turkey.
And they're part of the transition group?
That's the problem. They are actively participating in the formulation of the Organic Act, when in the Constitution, it should be Congress that should formulate the Organic Act only in consultation with the multi-sectoral groups in the area. And also, we should not forget to mention that Sulu Sea is very rich in oil. And Sulu Sea is considered a national sea. An autonomous region in Muslim Mindanao is the only one that is allowed under the Constitution, not a sub-state, not a bangsa, but an autonomous region. And an autonomous region partakes of the nature of an LGU, a local government unit, and it cannot include in its territory Sulu Sea. Okay. Sulu Sea should remain with the entire Filipino people. It should not be given to this bangsa MILF, and then the ExxonMobil, Petronas of Malaysia, the Japanese Oil Company, the United Kingdom Oil Company, British Petroleum will all be the ones who will benefit from the oil, with the Filipino people getting nothing.
Okay, last 30 seconds, Bono.
Yeah, my position in this particular issue is bangsa MILF will never take off. And it's about time the national government realizes that participation of international groups in the resolution of our problems here is suicidal. And it's about time that we tell everybody that Filipinos should solve their own problems and not involve these people from outside who have their own interest in our country.
Now, let me conclude by saying that there are foreign powers imposing. And we should also use global powers such as the BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, to join us in neutralizing these traditional imperialistic neo-colonial powers from the West, led by London and Washington. We need to use the natural forces of geopolitics. But with that, since we have run out of time, we can only leave that thought to our audience, that it may germinate and enrich our national discussion on this matter. Maraming salamat po, and have a good weekend at sa inyong lahat.
Happy Valentine's.
Happy Valentine's daw, kaya naka-red. Naka-pink ako because I'm a bit diluted when it comes to the idea of Valentine's. It's too sentimental for me.
Red is also the color of revolution.
Oh, okay. So, good. Until